Mom's View. Carly could not be here today, but she sends her love, and she will be here next week. We have an amazing guest that I'm very excited about because she is very talented, very funny, and has an amazing YouTube channel. Her name is GloZell. Welcome.
Thank you. People are like, is she a mom? She's on Mom View. Well, I'm like the mother of YouTube. Come here, baby. I'm like the help. You is kind. You is good. You is important. Thanks for having me.
We love you already. Can you come every week?
Yes, I can.
This is so much more entertaining. No, so tell us, how did you start your YouTube channel?
Oh, well, I started because I had a blog, and I thought my blog was very exciting because 10 people were watching. So uploading got slower and slower. So someone said, why don't you upload it on YouTube? YouTube was not YouTube as today, Mm-hmm. So I uploaded on YouTube and copied and put it on my blog for like a year. I didn't know. Someone's like, do you know you have like 1 million people watching you on YouTube? I was like, really? I didn't know that. So, but I have 11 here. I was like, what? I went up one. So I was so excited. And then I looked, I was like, oh, maybe I should pay attention to this. And so that's how I got started, and I got addicted.
Yeah. And now you're really like,
I am it, honey. I'm a queen of YouTube.
Is it exciting?
It is exciting. Everyone's so nice, and people come up to you like, so then I scream too, like, you know me, I know you. It's great.
Well, thank you for being here. You are not a mom. I'm not a mom either, but the Mom's View really is about just talking, females sitting around talking, having conversation,
just
and
women.
The point of view of a lot of moms, but we're just happy you're here and want to get your perspective on some things.
All right, throw something at me.
Let's do it. Should we do a comment question?
Well, I know that everyone here does videos and YouTube and everything. Has anybody ever had anything negative? Like for me, my family didn't understand, like, what are you doing? You have a college degree. Why are you acting like that? Stop. See, you're stupid until you start making money. And everybody's like, I knew her from the beginning. That was wonderful.
Well, because I started in 2006 as well, like a long time ago. I mean, and people, I didn't even tell anyone because I didn't even know how to explain it. It didn't exist. You couldn't explain it. And then a friend from high school was like, my brother said he saw you on the internet and you were doing these it was like such a bizarre thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm just doing this thing. It was so confusing to people, like what it was. And now, obviously, it's turned into this amazing
Lisa,
thing.
funny thing is I know your brother, Ben. And he and I used to work at a gym together. And then one day I was like, what was your weekend like this weekend? And he goes, my sister and I posted videos on YouTube. And I literally was like, what's YouTube? And then he was the first one who showed me your videos. Actually, first time I went on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean.
I remember when Shay started doing YouTube, and we had no idea what it was. And I remember thinking, what is he doing? Colette is so nice to let him do that.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
But do you think we all kind of were like, what?
Yeah, everybody was.
What did you think when Shay started doing it?
Well, when he first started doing it, it was just kind of like, I always wanted him to explore his hobbies and have fun, and it was just kind of a hobby. And then one day he approached me, he's like, do you know that Philip DeFranco and all these other YouTubers are getting paid to do this? And I'm like, what? And then it was like, this could be cooler than just a hobby, And
now you're in them too.
And now we just kept going, and it's fun. Yeah. But explaining it to other people is like, you make videos on the internet.
I understand when I try to explain to people because I remember you guys explaining it to us, and I remember on my birthday you sent me happy birthday from the Shaytards, and I was like, the Shaytards? Like I just didn't understand, and we didn't have a computer, so I wasn't watching it.
So you're like, what?
How does your family feel about it now?
Well, they're kind of mixed on it. It depends on what video they see.
Right.
Yeah,
If I'm acting
so
nice and
true.
intelligent, she is brilliant. But if she's, causing kids to choke around the world on the Cinnamon Challenge, then there are some issues.
That's interesting. You were telling me about that. So Fox and ABC News are saying you're responsible for kids choking.
Oh my gosh.
ABC News, Fox News, Canada, someone from Africa. So Africa News contacted me yesterday. Is it okay? Like, yeah, go ahead.
Because her video is one of the biggest. I mean, it's the most viewed of the Cinnamon Challenge.
Yes.
Challenge, yeah.
But that's actually an interesting topic because a lot of times parents like to blame the movies or entertainment or something else for the problem.
Or the GloZell, which is not my fault. I did not make the cinnamon. I did not believe that this is not it. You can get this for free. Right. You know, you go to Starbucks and it's right there.
People do it anyways. You just did it on camera. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, no, too much of it, too. There's some still in my hair.
What do you think about that, though, when, parents tend to, if something happens or there's an act of violence with the child, they'll say it's the movies or it's the TV they're watching. I mean, what do you think it is? Is it parenting?
It's easier. It's easier to blame that than to blame yourself. I mean, you don't want your kid to be failing because of you. So it's easier.
But it is the parents' fault.
Sometimes I've always thought about that because you can have a parent with two twins, let's say. One will be the black sheep that's the troublemaker, and then the other could be like an angel. So is it the parents? I mean, in a way, the influence.
Yes, it is.
But I think a lot of it has something to do with,
Yeah.
Totally.
we're all different, and
well, your environment too. I mean, they say your brain is predisposed to lots of things. So you might have the ability to be a criminal, but if you're not put in a bad situation growing up, that'll never come out. So. A lot of it has to be somewhat
the parents.
Yeah.
They're in charge of the environment. They're in charge of what's in the house. They should be watching somewhat. I don't know how parents really do it because you have the internet now on your phones,
Yeah.
So the kids have the phones. They're watching, and I'm like, where are you tweeting me from? Oh, I'm in class.
Right.
yeah.
Wait
At least I'm a decent person, but I don't know who else is tweeting you back. You know what I'm saying? So I
so
say
scary.
Yeah.
It is. It's like.
Yeah, they're going to get it from everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's just our world today. It's the media, and it's okay to be a part of it and everything. But if you don't want your kids watching, just be there.
It's hard too though, because I remember I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies growing up, but I went to my friend's house and we could watch rated R movies there, and then I would watch a scary movie and be scared, and I couldn't tell my mom. So
Because you're like, I can't watch this
You can't
movie.
control everything your kids do.
can't.
I wasn't allowed to go to anybody's house, so they eliminated that right there. If they weren't big, I guess for things like
stuff
this.
like that.
Totally.
Really, exactly. And I'm like a big giant baby, but one day
I remember having friends that couldn't stay the night and couldn't come over and thinking that was so weird, and now I'm the kind of mom like, you're not staying the night.
not
sorry.
going anywhere.
That's how I feel. I feel like now after
so.
growing up and being a teenager, I'm like, I would never let my kid leave the house. Never. They're like sleepovers when I have them, hopefully.
But
they'll
not just
stay at our house.
family and friends, but whatever, even if there's a church or synagogue, anywhere you drop your kids off, you need to check out everything.
Yeah.
Dance class, the teachers, everything. Have you seen in the news the teachers?
I know.
I know. With the kids, the second and third grade and all that crazy stuff. No, you need to check out everything.
Well, you have to be able to communicate with them. They have to feel like they can come to you and say anything.
Yeah.
Right? So that anything that
Very
happens, they'll
open
come
relationship.
to you. Right.
And not
Which
get
can
in
be
trouble
really
for telling
difficult.
you.
Yes,
Right.
and that's the hard part, because you want them to be able to tell you, because they're going to do crazy things,
Yeah.
like we all did. So just keeping the communication open so that they can still talk to you, and they know that you're not going to be like,
Right. How do you do
You know?
that? Do you like are you conscious of trying to keep that communication open and always being like, okay, tell me, and not punishing them if they tell you something bad they did, or how do you balance that?
But do you think they would
it's
come
so
to you
hard.
anyway?
What if?
Like, even if you have a great relationship, because I'm thinking if my mom thinks that I'm the greatest in the world, then I'm not going to tell her that, I just killed 12 people.
Right.
I don't want her to think bad of me. So that's the last person I'm going to tell.
Yeah.
So maybe also you need to check their friends, make sure they have some decent people around them.
Right.
I don't know how people do it.
I think
Yeah.
a reaction. If you're gonna be screaming at them, they're not gonna tell you if they do something bad. If you
Yeah.
communicate and why did you think that was okay, or try to get an answer. My daughter, who's 2.5,
And
was
gorgeous
yesterday.
cheeks.
Thank you.
so.
She comes in with my nail polish open, and she'll always do that if she thinks she's doing something bad. She'll come next to me and she goes, "Mama." I go, "What?" She goes, "Hi." She's just holding it, like, just so I could see what she's doing. And then I'll be like, "I see you holding my nail polish." She's like, "Bye." But she's already like knows that it's bad. It's 2.5.
Yeah.
So how do you discipline? Do anybody have discipline, or you're like not disciplined because she's 2, or?
I feel bad. I mean, she doesn't do that much. She doesn't do anything really bad at this age, and she's so good that I don't like to. I'm like.
So you saying no?
Well, I'll just say
Take
no.
the fingernail polish, throw it around.
I'm good, and I'll take it and give something else to distract
I
her.
think you have to discipline your kids in different ways. Like my little boy, if I put him in the corner, he will sob and, Mom, I love you, I'm so sorry. And I could put Braylee in the corner and she'd be like, oh, really? I'll sit here. Okay. You know, she's been really hard, but
So how do you do? So then, do you change the way you discipline them?
Absolutely, I discipline them differently. Gage is more like I can talk to him and I can tell him and he will apologize and he's so sorry and he wants to fix it.
Okay.
I've tried so many different things with Braylee and it's just hard. It's better to discipline her with reward. Like notice the things that she's doing good, and that's how. That
you are smart.
Which is hard.
Yes.
It's really hard.
You got
really
two, and
difficult.
the ages are different. Was that Spidey Batman in that song?
Yes.
Oh, he's so cute. That's so- But at my school, I went to private school. They had paddling. They don't allow that anymore.
Yeah,
So
they don't.
Wait, did you go to Catholic school?
no, I went to Lutheran school, so I heard they do that too at the Catholic school.
My dad would always tell us the stories of his Catholic school. Same thing, just
No math paper, bend over. I know my alphabet. I know everything now. But yeah.
Was it traumatizing for you?
No, it's not. It wasn't until growing up and other people like, what? Well, you know, now people are just swinging just for the fun of it.
Right.
But no, I thought that was just how it is. And nothing at school was nothing compared to what I was gonna get at home. So
Yeah.
what? That's only twice you're
But it
gonna hit me.
obviously didn't ruin you. You like are so.
I know.
Awesome.
You know, cut the cameras off and I'm like, no.
Did your parents?
But it's different, like she said, for different people. Maybe I needed a little more. But.
Right. Or some other kids, maybe it affected them differently. I remember my dad saying that too. Like he was okay with it, but he remembered this girl in his class who just like was very traumatized by it. You know, so like different people can take things differently.
Gosh, that's so interesting. I feel like that is like that's a journey that every person goes on differently. Like disciplining their kids and trying to figure out what works and I don't know.
But now the government is trying
have
to
the
tell you.
answers?
No.
I don't believe in spanking. Do you guys?
I have spanked before.
But like, tell me, explain, because I'm a new mom. Like
It's like this.
Well,
like,
That's what it is. No explaining.
but how
there were times like I would try not
But you
to
have
do
boys.
it until I have 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh,
But it obviously my
you had them?
yes.
yeah, can you believe that little body of hers?
No, I'm mad. She's like 40 pounds, but go ahead.
Yeah, right. It was really hard to figure out how to do it. Like that's the thing with being a parent is you don't get a manual. You just like you have a child and it's like, okay, what do I do? So you just kind of revert back to what your parents did, I think. And I was spanked as a kid. And so I would try to do every method first, like talking to them, explaining to them, timeouts, whatever. And if those didn't work, then I would revert to spanking. And it worked.
Yeah, not across their head or anywhere, but
Yeah.
cushion parts.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like there were this one time with Princess Tard, she was being so hard for me, and I was like, get in there and clean your room. I asked her at least 20 times, and I'm like, I'm not following through with anything. She's not doing it. Nothing's working. And I said, go in there and clean your room, or I'm gonna spank you. And she said, well, even if you did, it wouldn't hurt.
Call me.
And I said,
Princess Tart.
So I spanked her, and she looked at me like, and I don't even think it really hurt her.
Right,
But she knew, like,
shock.
oh.
Mom not playing.
Mom's not. Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes they need to know you're serious, and if it's not working with anything else,
So if you give them the warning now, will they do
I
it?
don't spank ananymore.
No, you don't have to.
I don't
Okay.
have to. I've
just
never
one time.
even,
Because you just do like this.
like, you know.
Didn't I tell you
You
to
know
sit
that I'm
down?
tough. I don't know. I think that once they know you're serious, and I think that you don't necessarily have to spank to get them to know
Right.
you're serious.
Right,
But
right.
at that moment, that's what I did. And it worked for that moment, and I don't suggest it for everybody, but I was doing the
I
best
do.
I
I
could.
suggest it for everybody. But
I know.
She's like, I love spanking.
Yeah.
How about you? How do you feel about spanking? Have you spanked?
Well, I also was spanked as a child, and I didn't really think a lot about it. I don't think it's right, and I think it can be taken too far. But I was talking to a client one day, and we were talking about spanking, and she said, I don't think that you should spank your child because that's embarrassing for them. That's humiliating. You know, you're doing that, and that really opened my eyes. Like, I am just humiliating them. It didn't work for Braylee, and
if they humiliate you in the grocery store, then
right.
hello.
Right.
No.
Oh, but if you spanked your child in a grocery store,
You know, the
Yeah.
crap people would get.
No, by the time we get to the grocery store, they know where you
This is
show
the
out, you
problem.
get woe out.
This
So
is the
it's
problem
not
with
gonna
me.
happen.
My kids will be naughty in the grocery store, and I'll be so mad while I'm in the grocery store. But I'm like, control it. I'll be so mad in the car, and I'm like, you guys are in so much trouble when we get home. And then by the time I get home, I'm like, okay,
You moved on.
go to your room.
Because you're supposed to leave right then. You know, then we have to leave the grocery store.
It's
So next
hard,
time,
though. It's
well, I guess it might be hard. Like I said, I can only tell you what y'all ain't doing. You know, and I don't have a kids. I'm coming from, you know, the Oprah perspective. This is what you should be doing.
You're
I don't
right,
have
you're
a
right.
kid,
You
so
should leave the store when they're throwing a fit, but it's like, I have this time to get this stuff. I need to get this right now, and we have to get it done. So let's get
You
this
can't
done.
have them control your life
Right.
too. You have to.
And it's so hard. I wish I could do everything right, and I wish I knew how to do everything right.
It's hard to know what's
so
right,
hard.
too. I mean, I think that being consistent with whatever you're doing is really important for them to learn because they're going to just keep doing it over and over. They always
Right.
do. Repeating. But, you know, like I said, too, is show them love afterwards.
And
Yeah.
like you said too, I mean, if you threaten, I'm going to take this away from you, take it away. And
Right.
I'm
You have to
really
follow
bad at
through,
that.
yeah.
I'm like,
That's a
okay,
good
you have
way.
one more chance. Okay, this is the last chance. You have one more. You know, I'm really
should do
bad
it
at
3.
doing that.
1, 2, 3.
no, I'm more of a one strike you out.
Were your
kinda.
parents really strict?
I don't think they were really strict. But I didn't play around. It's like, look, I know there was a possibility of getting spanked.
Right.
So that was it. Not only by then, my mom's friends could, or my uncles or aunties. It wasn't just wherever I was. Like my grandmother could spank anybody. So, and believe you me, you don't want that. Okay, when she's picking up a stick, you're just like, it's over. All right, don't talk to her during The Price is Right. I've seen, just don't do that.
That's the thing, too. It's like, I was spanked as a kid, and I don't feel traumatized at all.
I don't.
Right.
Like,
There's other people telling you like,
You know?
this is gonna happen to your kid, but no.
Well, because they control their own strength too. I mean, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
parents out there that don't control their strength, and that
Right.
could be
Yeah.
traumatizing.
And there's a difference between spanking and
Beating.
like abusive
Yeah.
beating. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
there's a difference.
With some consequences for myself, I've never touched alcohol or drugs, and I think I'm sure there's people who got spanked too, probably, on Skid Row somewhere, but however, for me, it's starting that discipline early.
Right. And it's really other thing. I mean,
But discipline
it's hard
could be
to-
different for,
Right.
It's hard to believe like spanking your kids is going to lead to some, like they're going to be on Skid Row or in jail or something. I mean, I think it's so many other things.
And
I
it's
think-
also doing it in anger, because that
Right.
can lead to,
Right.
abusing them.
Right.
But, if you're using it as a mode of discipline, and this is what happens if you do this, and, then I do agree with that.
I
'cause
read something before where it said if you get really angry at your children, you just leave the room.
Yeah.
Get some air, clear your head. Because,
Right.
my daughter is so easy, but I can only imagine having a little terror around.
Yeah.
And somebody who hasn't been sleeping well, who's
Right.
overworked,
Right.
like having personal issues in their lives, like I could see how that could happen. But you just have to cool off first.
That's why you're supposed to have two, if you can, two parents.
Yeah.
Because I need to go rest my nerves
Right.
before I go to jail.
Right.
Your turn.
I think another thing, like we talked about communicating with our children, even from a young age, and I heard somewhere, if they're getting in trouble, they need to understand why, and it's good to
Right.
get down on their
Yes.
level. Both of my
Yes.
kids respond so well to that. If Braylee's being naughty and she has a hard time listening.
I want to meet this Brayley.
She's so sweet,
She
too.
has a mind of her own, definitely, but if I will
That's good.
sit down with her and say, Braylee, this is how I'm feeling, you're hurting my feelings and you're making it hard when we go to the grocery store, and this is why I'm upset, and that's why you got in trouble, then she'll say, okay, and we'll talk.
I didn't know parents had feelings.
Yeah. Well, that seems so effective.
That's
I mean,
Yeah.
to me,
really
that seems
nice.
amazing. And
Yeah.
And even with Gage, even at a young age, if you do that, then they understand and
understand.
they,
And they feel
need to
heard,
see
'cause a lot of times they're-
why you're upset and why
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah. Because
How
a
do
lot
they
of times
act
they're
with other
testing.
people? Sorry.
How do they act?
Like when you're not around, like with other people,
Oh,
do you
yeah,
get the
they're
report like, oh, they're
kids.
great? Or
They're
I've
amazing
always
kids.
heard
yeah.
that Braylee's really good. I
Okay.
don't know, like,
Oh, yeah.
like I was talking to Carly yesterday because I was like, I don't know what to do. Braylee's not listening to me, and she's like, she always listens to me.
Okay.
I always hear that she listens.
But
They're
you're
always
always
worse for
spoken
them.
voice too. Like it would be hard. I
feel like they're always worse
I
for
can
you.
picture you
tell you
having
to
like a
sit down.
stern voice. That maybe the
You're in so much trouble, seriously.
But I think it's a lot of times they're testing and they're pushing boundaries and
Yeah.
they're doing something to see what you're gonna say, or they want attention, or they want to be heard, or they
reaction.
want you to see them. So I think the idea that you're talking to them.
Well, and
is
but
great.
a downfall to that is, you know, I've talked to Raylene. I'm like, you know, what's going on? And she'll say, I want to spend more time with you. Okay, we'll work on that. I understand, and we need to spend more time. Then when she's getting in trouble, she'll be like, we just need to spend more time.
She's so smart.
7.
7, okay.
You're like,
She's
I love
been like
this
this
girl.
since she could talk. She works me over pretty good.
All right, let's take a comment question, because I think we should do that every episode. We need to talk to the fans. Okay, this one comes from SummerGirl12381. She has 3 questions, all about puberty.
Oh.
How did you feel when you were going through puberty? How would you talk to your kids about puberty? How would you prepare your children for puberty? By prepare, I mean, how would you teach them to expect changes?
We had like
very good
a
question.
video in Girl Scouts, you know. And I was like, what is going on? This is not about cookies. I don't like this movie.
Like a video about your period?
Yeah.
And were you just totally shocked? Like this was a new
Yeah, because
idea to you?
it was like way early for myself. Like,
like,
I didn't need to watch that movie for like another 7 years, but
That
was traumatizing. Spank me. I'd rather have that.
When did you go through puberty?
Oh, after high school.
After high school.
After high school, everybody's like,
Wow.
I just wonder if it has something. I was breastfed till like almost kindergarten, so I wonder if that has something to do with it,
That's really
or you know, not having been brought up on the fast food at that time, kind of a thing. So when I've been like in charge of a Sunday school or this class for whatever reason or camp, and like, excuse me, Miss Green, do you have any feminine project? Well, you're in the 3rd grade. Who's this for? So I was just like, what? You're in the 4th grade, 5th grade? Where I don't know what. I didn't need them.
Puberty's happening earlier and earlier.
To hormones.
I was
probably.
like 16, 17, out of high school.
I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah. I'm
like, do you feel like it was weird for you, or was it like?
No, because going to private school, we just didn't talk like that, and we didn't like I had one video. My dad was a pharmacist, so if there's everything I ever needed, I could just take it off the shelf, kind of thing. There was no kind of conversation, like those are just no.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, but it was way late.
That's
Do
interesting.
you guys remember getting your period or being scared of it or
Well,
knowing
I
what it
was, my mom had just died, actually. Like, I was 11 when she died, and so, you know, I was going into, like, 12, 13, and I was like, Mom, I need you, you know, like, I mean, I remember the first time, like, I thought that I needed a bra, and I went to my grandma, and I was like, Grandma, I need a bra. You know? And she's like, what? Like, she couldn't
brassiere?
hear. And I'm like, Grandma, I know. And she's like, what? You need a what? And I was like, oh my gosh. It was like so humiliating. But luckily I had an older sister, and I had a really open relationship with my dad. And that's the biggest thing, is I could tell my dad, which most girls, I don't know if you could, but I could tell him, and he would be like, oh, okay. And he was really understanding, and he, you know, talked to my aunt and said, can you help her and take her shopping? And so that's how, like, I got through that, was that open communication with my father. Otherwise, I would have been like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
So you were how old?
I was, like, probably 12, 13.
Yeah.
And she died when I was 11, so it was, like, right after. And then my dad married shortly after that. So
Do you like her?
I do.
Okay.
I got lucky. None of this wicked stepmother stuff. She's wonderful. So, I don't know. It was hard. It's always difficult going through that time, but I feel like the open communication was what helped me the most.
So are you going to start talking to your daughters at a certain age?
I am. I feel like, you know, maybe, I don't know if I'll just wait for signs to see if it's time, or maybe
you should,
year.
because other kids might start, because
Exactly.
it's everywhere.
Right.
When I grew
Exactly.
up, they wouldn't even talk about this on television, and I'm older than everybody here, so I would think go ahead and start talking to them before, you know, little Cindy tell them, like,
Yeah.
you know.
That's true, because they have older friends.
It's interesting because you don't really want to freak them out, like if it's too early, but you want to make sure that they know. So
It's so hard. I want to wait until the video in school. I don't know if they still do that, but that's what we had, was one in school. But I have a family member who went through this when she was 8.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Rayleigh is 7, and so
So maybe we should talk to him right now.
Kindergarten before they go to class.
Yeah.
Because someone in their kindergarten class could have an older sister. We're talking third, fourth
That's
grade.
because everybody has an older sister. You always hear about things, but you don't know what they are. I just remember being, I knew this existed. I was just like, when it happens, you're just like, what is this? I remember having absolutely no idea what was happening and just be like, did I go to the bathroom in my pants? Like, what is happening? You're like, I didn't know. Like, it took me like the whole week before I was like, oh, I bet it's that period thing.
Should have been a Girl Scout.
Like, I didn't know, like, I didn't have an older sister, but, there's no one to talk to, and you're embarrassed, and you're like, what's wrong with me?
So maybe we should start right now.
Oh, yeah.
They have these little books for girls, for little girls that tells that you can read when they're young, like at that age. Right. And then so it's not something you tell them this is what's happening, but it's part of something they've read before.
Right. They become a
I
woman.
I definitely think we need to do it at the same time.
Together?
Who knows what?
right.
Sister and Braylee will be telling each other.
Well, I remember my sister, like, before I had ever heard of her, she's like, and then you played ants. And I was just like, what?
This is
like,
crazy.
I was so scared.
I have a sister, but we don't talk like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just from a different time. I'm like, you had that conversation with
That's what I mean. Like, I didn't really have these
Zero.
conversations. I didn't know. So it was a very kind of shocking to me. Yeah. But it is a crazy thing when you're like, you are going to hemorrhage every single month for 4 days. Or 5 days or whatever.
So was that scary to you then? Like, or did you know enough about it by the time it happened that it was like, whatever?
No, I know. And plus, there was more commercials like, are you fresh?
Right.
And you run through the field. I'm like, it's time for me to run through the field.
Into mother.
But no, never a conversation with mom, sister, nobody. And so even now, like, if my boyfriend will be like, oh my gosh, is that time? I'm like, you say that? We don't talk about that. He's like, what did I say? None of that unflow kind of, never. Even this makes me want to go, wash. Like, what are we talking about?
And
no,
also, it's a thing of you're able to get pregnant, so it's a big deal for them to know
yes,
that
they
this
have
is
to
a
know.
huge deal.
You almost don't want to tell them you can get pregnant.
Yeah.
No.
Do not.
If you're watching The Simpsons or even cartoons, they're addressing all kinds of things. So you need to go early and say, I would tell them.
Yeah. Nowadays, because you can
here
see
we
everything
go.
online, it's different.
Yeah.
Like, you do have to talk to them earlier. Anyway, this has been amazing.
It's
so
over.
great having you. I know, it's fast.
Ready.
I'm going to run through the field.
You have to subscribe to GloZell. She's so amazing.
Thank you.
And don't
She's so
forget
fun.
to go to our Facebook. We have a great giveaway. We have this awesome stationery. And subscribe to The Mom's View and follow us on Twitter. And we will see you next week.
Bye.